A child alone in the dark. A name whispered in fear. A secret that could destroy everything. When Abby Monroe finds a shivering little girl digging through trash, she thinks she's just helping a lost child. But when the police reveal the truth, this girl is the kidnapped daughter of a billionaire. Abby realizes she stumbled into something far bigger. The man who took her is still out there, watching, waiting. And now, Abby isn't just a witness, she's a target. This story is full of twists, danger, and unexpected bonds. There's so much more ahead. Stay with us, because you won't want to miss a second. The street lamp buzzed and flickered, casting jagged pools of light over the grimy pavement of downtown Rochester, New York. Abigail Abby Monroe trudged through the biting March wind, her coat threadbare, her boots soaked from puddles that mirrored the city's cold indifference. The clock had just ticked past midnight. Another soul-crushing shift at Grayson Enterprises, scrubbing marble floors and emptying the trash of billionaires, had left her drained. 5 years as a single mom had hardened her, but not enough to dull the ache of worry for her daughter, Sophie, now 7, asleep at home with a neighbor who charged too much for too little care. Abby's ex, Mike, had vanished when Sophie was a toddler, leaving her to claw through life alone. Some nights, she'd rationed her own dinner to keep Sophie fed, whispering promises of better days she wasn't sure she believed. She rounded the corner by the shuttered corner store, her breath fogging in the frigid air, when a shadow moved, small, quick, darting near a dumpster. Abby froze, heart thudding. A child? She squinted through the dimness. A girl no older than 10, hunched over the trash, her thin hands clutching a moldy sandwich crust. Dirt streaked her face, her hoodie torn at the elbows, and her wide, frightened eyes gleamed under the flickering light, eyes that held secrets too heavy for someone so young. "Hey, sweetheart," Abby called softly, stepping closer. The girl flinched, clutching the crust like a lifeline, her frail frame trembling. "It's okay," Abby soothed, kneeling despite the ache in her knees. "I'm not going to hurt you. Are you lost?" The girl's lips parted, her voice a cracked whisper. "I ran away." A chill slithered down Abby's spine, sharper than the wind. "From where?" she pressed, keeping her tone steady. The girl swallowed, eyes darting to the empty street. "A bad man, he took me." Abby's stomach lurched. "Kidnapped?" She scanned the shadows, the silence suddenly menacing. "What's your name, honey?" "Chloe," the girl murmured, her voice trembling like a leaf in a storm. Something flickered in Abby's memory. Those eyes, that face, but it slipped away before she could grab it. "Come with me," Abby said, offering her hand. "I promise you'll be safe." After a long, wary pause, Chloe nodded, her cold fingers slipping into Abby's. That night, Abby brought her home. Abby's apartment was a cramped 2-room walk-up, the wallpaper peeling, the heater rattling like it was on its last breath. She fed Chloe a bowl of reheated mac and cheese, dug out an old sweatshirt of Sophie's for her to wear, and tucked her into a spare blanket on the couch. Sophie, still asleep in the next room, didn't stir. Abby sat by the window, her mind racing. Who was this girl? Who had taken her? The word kidnapped echoed, a drumbeat of dread. She couldn't shake the feeling that Chloe's face was familiar, like a half-remembered dream. Morning came gray and heavy. Abby made a call. Sophie's school could wait, this couldn't. She took Chloe to the Rochester PD, her grip tight on the girl's hand as they stepped into the fluorescent-lit station. Detective Sam Carver, a grizzled man with a permanent scowl, leaned over his desk as Abby recounted the night. "Found her by a dumpster," she said. "Says she ran from someone who took her." Carver's eyes darkened. "You might have just saved a life, Ms. Monroe." He took Chloe to a back room for fingerprints, promising answers soon. Abby paced, nerves fraying, until Carver returned, his face grim. "System's got a hit," he said, turning his screen toward her. There, under missing persons, was a photo. Chloe Everett, age 10, daughter of billionaire Nathan Everett, CEO of Everett Industries. Missing for 3 weeks. Abby's breath caught. Those eyes, now staring back from a polished headshot, were unmistakable. "A billionaire's kid?" she whispered. "How?" "She matches the report," Carver said. "Father's been tearing the city apart looking for her. He's on his way." Abby glanced at Chloe through the glass. She sat hunched, picking at her sleeves, still afraid. If her father was searching, why hadn't she been found? And why did she look ready to bolt? That evening, as Abby stirred soup on her stuttering stove, a sharp knock rattled her door. Her hands shook as she opened it. A tall man stood there, his tailored suit stark against the peeling hallway paint, his piercing gray eyes scanning her like a hawk. 2 uniformed officers flanked him, but he needed no introduction. Nathan Everett. His face was plastered on every business magazine in the country. Yet now he looked raw, unraveling, a man teetering on collapse. Chloe peeked from the kitchen, her gasp slicing the air. "Dad." Nathan's polished facade shattered. He dropped to his knees, pulling her into his arms. "Chloe, oh God, I thought I'd lost you," he choked, his voice breaking. She clung to him, sobbing, "I was so scared, Dad." Abby watched, throat tight, as Nathan's gaze swung to her. "You saved my daughter," he said, raw gratitude in every word. "I just did what felt right," Abby replied, shifting uncomfortably. But then Chloe pulled back, her voice trembling. "Wait, where's Uncle Ryan?" A shadow crossed Nathan's face, his relief morphing into something lethal. "He took you?" he asked, each word a blade. Chloe nodded, tears spilling. "He said he'd get money from you, locked me in a basement." The room went still, a deadly quiet swallowing the air. One officer tensed, muttering into his radio. "Ryan Everett," Carver said, stepping forward. "Your brother? He's got a rap sheet, extortion, fraud. If he's still out there." Nathan straightened, his jaw a steel line. "Take Chloe to the estate," he ordered the officers. "I'll deal with Ryan." His tone promised violence, and Abby shivered. Deal with him how? Days crept by. Abby returned to her routine, scrubbing floors, hugging Sophie goodnight, assuming her part was done. But the unease lingered. Who was Ryan Everett? Why target his own niece? Late at night, she'd catch herself staring out the window, half expecting headlights to pierce the dark. Then, on a rainy Thursday, another knock came. Abby opened the door to Nathan, alone this time, rain dripping from his coat, his expression unreadable. "Ms. Monroe," he said, stepping inside. "We need to talk." "Is Chloe okay?" Abby asked, shutting the door against the storm. "She's safe," he said, but his voice was tight. "Ryan's gone underground. He wasn't just after ransom. He wanted my company. Planned to use Chloe to force me out. He's still out there, and I don't trust he's done." Abby's pulse quickened. "So what now?" Nathan pulled a key from his pocket, its brass glinting in the dim light. "This is for a new apartment, 2 bedrooms, safe neighborhood." He set an envelope beside it. "And this a job offer. Operations manager at Grayson. Permanent." Abby blinked, stunned. "Why me?" "Because you didn't hesitate," he said, gray eyes softening. "You gave her kindness when no one else did. People like you, they're rare. Let me give you what you deserve." Tears pricked Abby's eyes. Years of struggle, nights crying over bills, days fighting for Sophie, flashed before her. I don't know what to say." "Say yes," he urged. "Okay," she whispered, a smile breaking through. "Yes." Caught up in the twist? Like and subscribe. More surprises are coming. Weeks later, Abby stood in her new apartment, clean walls, warm light, a bedroom for Sophie with a view of the park. The job at Grayson paid enough to breathe, to save, to dream. Sophie twirled in her new coat, giggling about school, her cough finally fading with proper care. Abby wasn't just surviving anymore, she was building. Nathan kept in touch, updating her on Chloe. Ryan was still a ghost, but security around the Everett estate was ironclad. Chloe, he said, asked about the nice lady often. One Saturday he brought her by. Chloe, now bright-eyed, hugged Abby tight. "Thank you," she whispered. Nathan watched, a rare smile tugging at his lips. "You're part of this now," he said. "Family, in a way." Abby nodded, warmth spreading through her. She'd saved a girl, and somehow, that girl had saved her too. On a crisp April evening, Abby hosted a small dinner. Sophie, Chloe, Nathan, and a few neighbors from the new building. Laughter filled the air as Sophie and Chloe swapped drawings, their chatter a melody of hope. Nathan caught Abby's eye across the table. "Ryan's been found," he said quietly. "Arrested last night. It's over." Relief washed through her. "Good." He raised his glass to kindness and new beginnings. Abby clinked hers against his, the weight of years lifting. She'd been a shadow, a struggler, a mom fighting alone. Now, she was more, a woman who'd turned one act into a ripple of change. Chloe was safe, Sophie was thriving, and Abby had a home, a purpose, a future. Sometimes, she realized, fate binds people for reasons beyond understanding. Sometimes, it's just a hand reaching out in the dark.